President was unable to really shed any light as to the content.
Mr. Brock, we have a point of order from Ms. KHALID. Go ahead, Ms. KHALID. I've stopped your time. You have 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. We're just questioning relevance. I understand that the topic that Mr. Brock is highlighting is in study in a number of different committees. We are here on a very specific issue about the surveillance of government employees through government technologies with departments, and I would prefer and I think that the community would appreciate if Mr. Brock stuck to that topic.
Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. So I try to cover Canadian Parliament, the House of Commons. They've been on summer leave, summer vacation. Before that, there was a really quick session after the election. Before that, they were prorogued. So it's been a very frustrating time. But there are so many things that happen in the House of Commons that mainstream media doesn't cover. I try to cover it here. This is going to be an example of that. We're going to have our guy, Larry Brock. He is one of our favorites to watch on here. These committee meetings, investigations are great. We get to really see the face-to-face interactions between the politicians, the witnesses. We get down to the heart of it in these investigations. This investigation was never completed. Let's take a look at what goes on in committee. I would suggest subscribing just for the coverage of the committees that we do here. They're very insightful. Anyhow, let's take a peek, see if this wets your whistle. Let's take a look.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
We're going to go to our second round now, starting with 5 minutes. And Mr. Brock, you'll have 2.5 minutes coming up there, Mr. Green. Mr. Brock for 5. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to the witnesses. Thank you for your attendance. I apologize I wasn't able to hear your opening statements. I trust some of you probably did. I want to focus on this ArriveCAN scandal that seems to be dominating the House of Commons and Canadians from coast to coast. And following up on my colleague, Mr. Keurig, I'm going to be focusing in on you, Mr. Jones. It appears that you have some expertise in this particular area when it comes to technology and data and things of that nature. So at the heart of the scandal, and this may be news to you, is information. It's a lingering question that the Auditor General labored with, that despite all the material that she received from the CBSA, which didn't amount to a lot, given the shoddy paperwork and record keeping, is she was unable to determine who chose this two-person firm who received essentially $20 million of taxpayer funds for doing absolutely nothing other than connecting the CBSA with IT professionals. We have evidence to suggest that information was withheld from the Auditor General, and the information centers around one particular individual by the name of Min Doan, who happens to be the Government of Canada Chief Technology Officer. So one would think, just the label, Chief Technology Officer, that person would possess the necessary skills to retain records. But at the heart of this, mysteriously, he had 4 years' worth of relevant emails during the pandemic when the cost of this Arrive scam scandal ballooned to over $60 million. 4 years' worth of emails constituting close to 1,700 emails in total just mysteriously disappeared. How can that happen?
Without knowing the circumstances, I can come up with a lot of different scenarios in the IT world. It could be something as simple as, and I've had this happen to me, the hard drive on my laptop failed and I lost my email. So without the specific circumstances, I don't know how to answer your question.
Okay. So that's been a lingering question. He's offered no explanation as to why he could not retrieve 4 years' worth of emails. Despite his status, he was the vice president of the CBSA at the time. He was the chief information officer as well for the CBSA. He's unable to explain that discrepancy. So the CBSA
Chair.
president was unable to really shed any light
Point of
as
order,
to the
Chair.
content.
Mr. Brock, we have a point of order from Ms. KHALID. Go ahead, Ms. KHALID. I've stopped your time. You have 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. We're just questioning relevance. I understand that the topic that Mr. Brock is highlighting is in study in a number of different committees. We are here on a very specific issue about the surveillance of government employees through government technologies with departments, and I would prefer, and I think that the community would appreciate if Mr. Brock stuck to that topic.
Well, as I've said in the past, Ms. KHALID, that I do give a lot of latitude to members to ask their questions, and I expect that they're going to come back to the topic at hand, and I'm certain that Mr. Brock will. He's done it before, so the floor is yours. You have 2 minutes, Mr. Brock. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, because I certainly don't frame my questions at the preference of the Liberal Party of Canada. All right? So I know they want to shut this down. I know it's important for them to silence us,
Point of
but I
order,
will not be
Chair.
silenced.
Absolutely
ridiculous.
unreasonable.
Okay,
Come on.
thank you for the point of order. Mr. Brock, please continue. You have the,
Thank you,
I
Chair.
did stop your time. I'm starting it again. You have a
Thank
minute
you.
and 50 seconds.
So, Mr. Jones, I want to know what tools potentially the RCMP, who may be charged with the responsibility of investigating criminality surrounding this Arrive scam. I can think of, hearkening back to my days as a Crown attorney, what's jumping off the page is allegations of fraud, allegations of breach of trust by public official. So in your professional opinion, sir, what sort of forensic tools would be available to the RCMP to retrieve 4 years' worth of relevant emails from the Vice President of the CBSA?
My issue, I honestly have never been privy to any of the investigative techniques that the RCMP use. We've always kept them at arm's length as the IT service provider. We certainly provide them with the base IT.
What kind of tools would you adopt then? If, say, for instance, Erin O'Gorman, the president of the CBSA, actually took her job seriously and wanted to retrieve these emails, what sort of tools could you adopt?
So if my colleague was asking for advice, certainly that's what we've established these contracts for in terms of the tooling that are required to retrieve information from government-owned devices. And there's a variety of tools depending on the type of device that would be used. I don't have a product list in front of me. I don't memorize, I actually never used these tools in my career.
Possible to retrieve 4 years' worth of emails?
It depends on the circumstances where they're located and how you would have to go about them. It's always very dependent on the circumstances.
Specific?
Yes,
Case specific?
Very, very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Brock. Thank you, Ms. KHALID, for.
So if you're new to the channel, you might not know who IQRA KHALID is. She's the problem child. She represents everything that's wrong with the Liberal Party, and it's so obvious in these committee meetings. Like, she kind of hides in the House of Commons, but right here in committee, she's fully exposed, delay, divide, distract, all these gross Liberal tactics. IQRA KHALID, let's take a peek. She's a mess.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
5, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chair. Appreciate it, and thank you to the witnesses for being here today. While the Conservatives try to figure out whether they think that surveilling government phones is a good thing or a bad thing, I think perhaps I'll turn to you, based on what they think is good for them for chasing headlines. What I would ask you one by one, I'll start with Mr. Jones, is what do you think is the purpose of a privacy impact assessment, and how does that impact the work that you do in your department?
Well, I think for me, the privacy impact assessment hits multiple points. I think most primarily it's to ensure that we've struck the appropriate balance between the objectives that we have to do, for example, in the coercive administrative investigation, to protect the information and also follow through on the kind of the responsibilities that are conferred upon us in government with the privacy rights of our employees, and to make sure that we've gone through and done a thorough evaluation to make sure that we understand what those implications are, and we've either put in controls in place or we found a way to balance should we need to use a tool that's slightly that's a little bit more invasive than we would like, to make sure that we found a balance. So, for example, that's why we put it in a lab, in a secret facility with security cleared people, very limited access. Like, I can't open the forensics lab, for example. I can't go into it.
Thanks for that. So the Privacy Commissioner has said that, obtaining judicial authorizations is not a replacement for privacy impact assessments. So where do you, I mean, in your opening remarks, you talked about, the fact that you have to get the warrants before you have those invasive procedures done. Where do you stand on that? Mr. Jones.
We are not a law enforcement agency, so we have no path to obtain a judicial warrant. We do this under my authorities under the Financial Administration Act as the deputy head to conduct administrative investigations. But like I said, those are very limited in terms of scope, and these tools are used when it's necessary and they're required. So I'll give an example. We're not Shared Services Canada employees. We do not take our phones out of the country. If the phones or laptops, etc., if they are taken out of the country, we use these tools to confirm that there was no documents that were taken from the device, that there was no malicious software installed, etc. It's used to confirm our security status and security setting. That's an example of where we'd use these tools.
Thank you. Mr. Mainville, same two questions, if that's okay with you.
So the PIA, for government agency, it helps us balance our program and our responsibilities to enforce the Competition Act with privacy needs of Canadians. So that's what the PIA is. So the primary goal is to systematically assess and proactively address any potential risk associated to new or modified programs.
Thank you. And Ms. Fox?
Yes, so we agree with the Commissioner. It's not a replacement. Obtaining consent does not replace the obligations to have a PIA. We have a PIA since the program was created. We have updated it through some of the years. And the PIA covers the data that we collect. So we ensure that all the data that we collect is covered in our PIA and assessed against the privacy concerns. After discussion with the Office of the Commissioner, we agree with the office that based on where we're at, it would be a good idea to update that. So the tools don't make for a PIA. Just because you purchase a tool doesn't necessarily change the way you use the data, and that's why it wasn't done with as a PIA for the tool. But certainly we believe that it is appropriate at this time to update our PIAs, especially with some of the new direction that's coming out from the Treasury Board on this aspect.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And coming back to you, what more can you do to engage with the Privacy Commissioner to ensure that trust in public institutions is maintained, especially when there's intrusive technology on people's phones that are employed by the government?
Well, again, we are not using the tool that was mentioned in the report in any way to interact with employees' phones, government issued or otherwise. We're only using the tool to extract data under our mandate for the purposes of conducting our investigations, and only the relevant data that we need, and the device is returned intact to the owner. So, and again, we've put this under appropriate security measures in terms of standalone computer, limited access, and proper use of retention policies and so on. So, and we have engaged with the Privacy Commissioner as recently, the Office of the Privacy Commissioner as recently as last week to just reconfirm our position on this.
Thank you. And Mr. Jones, same question.
It's a quick response, please.
I actually have met the Privacy Commissioner. It was one of my first things when I took over this job, and it's to talk about how do we start to look at emerging technologies. This is one of those areas where, frankly, it's a best practice that we should have implemented, and that's why we're doing one now.
Thank you, Ms. KHALID. Mr. Jones.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary.
Anyhow, gang, we're going to wrap this video up right there. IQRA KHALID right there. She's a terror. Like, she's such a mess. But there are so many really interesting things that happen. The things that I cover here, I think they're interesting when House of Commons and Parliament is in session. It's interesting. All this bogus that's been going on this summer, these trade war tariffs and elbows up, all this, that it's all going to come out in the wash here, and the wash is coming up like when Parliament resumes. That's it. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's been a frustrating summer. I don't like covering the news, watching like CBC videos. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, Parliament is coming back. Pierre's got his seat. It's going to be heated. Carney is toxic, right? His Liberal cabinet is a mess. He's got backbenchers like the problem child here. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, please like, share, subscribe, and stick with us. We're going to get better at this. I am excited about the session coming up because we know what's going on now. When I started doing this, I had no clue who anybody was. Besides like Poilievre and Trudeau, I had no clue. Now I know all 400 or whatever. I know a lot of these MPs. That's it. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe, get notified. We do live shows. Come and check that out. We cover question period every day. That's it. Thank you all for watching. To the returning viewers, always a pleasure. To the new viewers, some exciting stuff is coming up. And if you think they've completely pulled the wool over your eyes, we're going to pull that wool back and open them up. Canadian federal politics. Get yours right here. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.
As a European, I am a European,
European.
actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh.
I'm Irish citizen. Yeah, so there you
welcome.
go.
Welcome.
Speaking as a European.
WTF.
Here, here. How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows.
And as the most European of the non-European countries.
Being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you
What
sought
possible
to avoid.
conflict would you have, Stephanie? Stephanie, I'm complying with the rules. I'm complying with the rules in advance. Confiance.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
All right, gang, thank you all very much for watching. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe. We're trying to grow this thing. Canadian federal politics. Get yours right here. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.